Hey guys, so another Apex card coming up this weekend here. We got another middleweight main event. Obviously last week was Roman Dolidze versus Nasruddin Imavov, and now we're getting Jack Hermansson making his return after I don't think he fought 2023. So he's returning now, and he's coming against the prospect Joe Pyfer, who Joe Pyfer has been on a pretty good tear so far. He's 3-0, I believe, of that. Against Alan Amadevsky, Gerald Mearshart, and Abdul Razak Hassan. All three by finishes. He had a win on the Dana White Contender Series. He's a former Ring of Combat champion, and he's young. He is 27. I believe a young 27 from what I remember seeing. I think his birthday's September, so, he's going to be in here for a while. Powerful dude. I think he's only gotten a decision one time, like 8 KO TKOs, 3 submissions. His last win was a submission against Abdul Razak Hassan. And I was seeing this trending around here that he broke the record for the hardest punch in the UFC. He beat Francis Ngannou, which I don't know the validity of that, but I also know this motherfucker hits hard, so it doesn't really surprise me. There's just a lot that he's got going for him. He's young, he's confident, as he should be, but he's going against Jack Hermansson, who Jack Hermansson's kind of one of those 50-50 fighters, in my opinion. He wins one, he loses one, he wins one, he'll lose maybe 2, then win 1, then that. Fight IQ, not really that good or impressive, because his last fight, which was a loss by submission, I believe, to Roman Dolidze, who fought last week, it was proven that he's not really that good. But you want to know the real thing that made that fight absolutely infuriating? Was he was winning it. Jack Hermansson was absolutely piecing up Roman Dolidze on the feet because he had decent footwork. He had all the strikes he could throw at him. Literally, Roman was just there to get hit, and there was just nothing that Roman could do to stop it. And Jack Hermansson was looking good, and he was stuffing the takedowns. Jack Hermansson was. And so Roman Dolidze could not even get him to the feet to submit him. And you want to know how Roman Dolidze submitted him? By Jack Hermansson literally taking him down for no fucking reason. Like, the dude isn't hurt enough. Why are you going in for a takedown? You did it in the first round, which I saw that. I was like, what? Why? That seems like it's just a waste of energy. You're not really that good on the ground. And you're beating him on there. Why are you taking him, giving him a chance to beat you with his strength? And he almost submits him in the first round, like Roman Dolidze does. I believe it was a rear naked choke that he puts him in there and almost gets him in there. And you're like, oh shit, okay, well, yeah, thank God that's the submission attempt he gets here. Now he's going to get back up his feet, and he's not going to continue to do that, because why would he do that again after being proven that he's not better than Roman Dolidze on the ground and is levels ahead of him on the feet, and Roman Dolidze on his own cannot take you down? Man, why would he ever do that again? Second round, takes him down. Gets reversed. Roman Dolidze starts throwing hammering punches at Jack Hermansson, and then eventually gets a rear naked choke, submits him. Roman Dolidze's now in the rankings. Jack Hermansson is an idiot. That's just plain and simple. And you could be like, that's just a one bad fight. You also got to realize Jack Hermansson has been out of the cage since that fight. He did not fight all of 2023. I believe he had a fight planned that, and it just fell through or something. And he's 35 years old. He's way older now. Was never really like this really great fighter of that. His wins he had recently weren't that good. I know the Chris Curtis on short notice. It just wasn't. None of his fights are really wowing me, and he's just getting older, so he's going to get worse. And then you got Joe Pyfer, who's he's trying to jump past this, and I don't think Jack Hermansson's chin's going to withhold it. I think he's going to survive the first round. And I think Joe Pyfer, just his physical build, his strength, everything he's got for him will keep Jack Hermansson trying to take him to the ground just with takedown defense. The power difference, I don't think Joe Pyfer is a better striker, but I think Joe Pyfer just hits harder, 100% hits harder. Like, anyone who doesn't think that, because let's just put it like this, Jack Hermansson does not have KO power anymore. He used to have at least a little bit of that, could at least finish some fights. Not anymore, and he's not going to finish. He's not going to finish Joe Pyfer. And if you don't have that danger threat, why would Joe Pyfer fear anything about Jack Hermansson? And with these powerful dudes, the one thing that you need to be able to do back is give them a sense of fear, make them hesitate. Because if he's just going all willy-nilly, is going to start throwing all these powerful punches with that, trying to knock Jack Hermansson's head off, and there's nothing to keep him from going, maybe I shouldn't throw it here. What if he catches me and then knocks me out here? If you don't have that fear, he's just going to run through. He's going to bulldoze through you. I do think Jack Hermansson will be pretty defensive in this fight. He's always been like a timid striker, I've noticed from rewatching some of his fights before this preparation. Because I was trying to think, because I'm like, maybe the veteran's going to pull it out against this young gun who isn't the most experienced in general, has lost some fights in his career. But you also got to realize, and this is the other thing I want to talk about, is Joe Pyfer's growth as a fighter, because he did something that I don't think was given enough attention, which was KOing Gerald Meerschaert in a round, which the only other person recently that's been able to do that was Khamzat Chimaev. And at least the middleweight division goes, if you're KOing Gerald Meerschaert, who's a crafty veteran, and just doing all that is just kind of hard to just finish and makes fights pretty difficult for both of these guys to run through him. That's impressive, and Joe Pyfer showed some really good talent, some skill in that 3 minutes 15-second fight they had, and it was a good finish of that. And then he follows up getting, I believe, a second round submission over Abdul Razak Hassan, and then obviously his debut, it was KO over Al. Oh my God, I can't remember his name now, but not the best fighter of that, but at least not a horrible opponent for a debut at least, which I think was an impressive win. Just good for that. He's surging right now. He's on a win streak right now. He's gotten comfortable with that, and he just doesn't seem like someone who would get nervous that much about being in like this main event position. Jack Hermansson isn't really intimidating as much, and I'm not saying Jack Hermansson can't win. I just think all the variables lean towards a Joe Pyfer second round KO. I'm giving my prediction right now. Jack Hermansson just kind of looks like a guy who, as of right now, won't take a punch from Joe Pyfer super well. Not a lot of people can. That's not like me trying to dog on him. I just think out of everyone that Joe Pyfer could have fought, this is the guy that looks like he can't take a punch that well. So I am excited for this fight. I am curious if Jack Hermansson can pull up the upset. That's gonna do some things for that, where I'm like, wow, either Jack Hermansson still has it a bit, or Joe Pyfer was not that good. There's only one of those two things of that, but I am excited for that. There's some other good fights on there. Like this card is underrated. It has some prospects on here making their debut, so it doesn't make it the most interesting star power wise. But you can quote me on this. It can either backfire or it can make me look really smart. A bunch of the guys on this card making their debut, I think will make some noise after this card, or in the future, after getting some surging wins on that, and will become the future of this division, because there are some good fights on here. It's better than others. You got Michael Johnson against Darius Flowers. I'll give a couple predictions here. Michael Johnson, I think, is going to get the KO, and I know it's only against really good fighters that Michael Johnson can beat, but I don't think Darius Flowers is really going to do much against it. I know his last fight was a loss to Jake Matthews on short notice, I believe, but I just don't think Darius Flowers is going to be going for takedowns against Michael Johnson, and Michael Johnson, I think, can just finish Darius Flowers. I'm thinking first or second round finish for Michael Johnson. And then co-main event, which is Dan Ige fighting Andre Fili, featherweight division. I really don't know why Andre Fili's being given a top 15 matchup. He's on like a one-fight win streak and it hasn't really been that good other than his last fight where he got a finish. But like he lost to Nathaniel Wood, which I don't know why people are saying that fight was a robbery. It was absolutely not a robbery. People need to rewatch that fight. But it was just stupid. But and then before that, split decision win against a fighter on short notice. Has like the most split decision wins in that division. I don't understand why he's being given a short notice thing. And yeah, I do think Andre Fili can win, but I think Dan Ige is good enough to beat a lot of these unranked guys. But certain just like top 15 ranked guys, like him against Bryce Mitchell is underrated on how Dan Ige did. I still thought he lost pretty, not comfortably, but pretty obviously that he lost the fight. But it was not a bad performance, and he made it very competitive, which is what was wanted in that. And yeah, I know Bryce Mitchell ended up getting KO'd by Josh Emmett, but you also got to realize Dan Ige arguably won against Josh Emmett. I haven't rewatched the fight in a while, but I remember that I picked Dan Ige on that. But I do think Dan Ige has the power. He has just the better like boxing and grappling. All the favors, I lean more towards Dan Ige. but I do think there's a chance that Andre Fili pulls up an upset, but I'm not really betting. I'm not betting on it, but these are my predictions right now. I am excited to see the main event, co-main event, and a bunch of these debuts. Just I'm curious if these guys are worth the hype that some people are giving on forums of that, whether these guys are going to live to expectations or not. But that's my predictions for now. Bye.